Live from the MC.
Gabi, Patito, 22-year-old. Where's she from?
She's originally from Long Island.
She's from Long Island.
And she was, at the time, living with her boyfriend, or fiance, I should say, Brian Laundrie in Florida.
So before we get into like what
Hold on. What's homie's last name?
Laundrie. It's spelled really strangely. I don't really want to give him too much.
Laundry?
Laundry, yeah. It's laundry, like washing clothes.
That's exactly what I thought you meant. Dirty laundry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he, again, and her Gabi's family also, like, is, like, refusing to, like, they want the major broadcasts to not show him in it and not mention him and not bring him up at all, because obviously the scale of the situation, and we're going to get into that a little bit, yeah.
So yeah, let's start it from the top.
Yeah.
So the very beginning, I believe it happened with text messages.
Right. No. Well, so the story goes this way. The timeline is on June 2nd.
Okay.
The couple leaves New York. Yeah. They fix up her mom's van or whatever it is.
They leave Long Island.
Long Island. They're in Long Island at this point. They fix up her mom's van. They're big into travel or whatever it might be, and they are going to travel.
A hiking couple.
Right, a hiking couple. And they're going to travel to the area of Utah, Wyoming, Kansas, and Colorado. And now
what an excursion.
Right, so it's like, big like hiking thing. Like there's a certain point in where all four states touch each other. So I forget the name of the state. I forget the name of that area. So obviously you guys know what that is. There was
I've heard of it.
There was a bit in I don't remember the name of the movie. I believe it was the remake of The Family Vacation. Where they were like, and again, I'll add a little bit of humor to this, is where I believe everyone was having sex in that spot. So it's like all the cops didn't know what to do, right? So they like broke up like a sex party. I believe it was the remake of The Family Vacation. So look that up if you want.
The Four Corner Monument.
The Four Corner Monument, exactly. So so they left on June 2nd, and everything was pretty good. Gabi was posting.
This was now, right?
This is this year.
2021.
This past summer.
Okay, so this is recent.
This is very recent.
Very recent.
So they are out there for several months, whatever. This was the plan. Gabi was constantly checking in with her family, FaceTiming, text messages, posting Instagram stories. And again, this is the power of the internet is going to prove like everything here at the end. So I believe on August 1st. Oops, never mind. Hold on. Sorry, not August 1st.
August 12th? That's what I keep seeing.
That sounds about right. Yep, altercation at Moab City, Utah. All right, cool. So I'll start from the top.
Yes, a fact checker.
All right, so...
On your fucking production, hold up.
So the couple set sail, set the drive July 2nd. Everything's fine. Like I said, Gabi is...
got my my hiking boots on.
She's checking in with her family. Instagram
Plenty
stories.
Of water.
Big, elaborate Instagram posts with paragraph long
Cliff bars on deck.
But on August 12th, Moab City police were called. And there was an altercation between Gabi and her fiance Brian Laundrie.
Please don't tell me they were at the Four Corners and the police didn't know what to do.
No, they weren't. So
okay.
In the moment, I believe that the police handled it well, and there's an hour and 17-minute video on every platform, basically. Okay. And I encourage everyone to watch it fully if you are invested in this case. In my opinion, I come from a family of police officers. I understand how hard it's been for them. Obviously, I'm also a person of color, so I do understand how there are times where we could be mistreated. And again, I think the only reason why this is getting real nationwide coverage is, Gabi's a beautiful, blonde,
just take one look at Gabi.
White woman. So if you look at the, while I was watching that body cam, and again, the cop did everything he possibly could. It's clear that Gabi and Brian had some kind of physical altercation. Brian's got blood all over him. They're both very... hikers are weird, right? So I don't know if you're doing ayahuasca. I don't know if you're doing mushrooms. They both said that they weren't on any kind of drugs, but it's clear.
Sounds like cap. Sounds like a little cap.
Of course. It's clear that Gabi is in distress.
Yeah.
she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her fiance, and then also you can see her fiance is very confused in the moment, right? Their stories don't link up at a certain point where he had said that she had grabbed the wheel, and she said that he only punched him, that she never grabbed the wheel. Now I believe that the cop, and I know he's probably very, very upset with himself the way that this case has now gone. And again, please do your own research. Watch the video. Like, you watch it for your own eyes. Tell me I'm wrong. Write in the comments if I'm wrong.
And the video's from the cop.
It's the body cam from the police officer.
From the police officer.
So
an hour long.
An hour and 17 minutes long, where he's just getting everybody's information. And I believe Brian's cell phone number got out. So that phone is now disconnected. Stop calling it. It's not helping. You're not helping anybody. But the verdict for the officer, nobody wanted to press charges. Told Gabi since the car is under her mother's name, she gets to keep the car, and then put Brian up in a hotel. Because the couple didn't, and he said, don't reach out to each other for 24 hours. If you do want to link up, he was very nice about it too, and he was like, hey,
yeah, there's no charges being pressed.
Right,
There's nothing he can do. He could just,
And again, I'll flip it back to a person who comes from a family of police officers and respects the police, but also sees it from the other side. The way that whole thing went down when the cop walked up, listen, if Brian Laundrie was any other kind of person, I don't think that goes down like that. I don't.
What do you mean?
I'm saying if Brian was a person of color, or if he wasn't white, if he wasn't just a white dude from fucking Florida, I don't think that goes down that way.
So at this point, it's just two white people, so the cops are just
it's
like,
crazy because like they asked him if he was on anything, and it's like me as a viewer, and again, an outside, I've seen people on drugs, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've done drugs myself, you can clearly see that there's something wrong. You clearly see that
he's not.
So 100%. And we've seen time after time after time where it's like, yeah, there was zero sobriety test. They just went on his word and said, no, man, we don't do drugs. None of us do. We don't do anything like that.
So if and not to make it about race or anything like that, but it seems like that's the direction we going. So had it been a person of color, Latino, whatever,
Latino,
and
Black, Muslim,
all of a sudden, Gabi would have been a dancer in distress.
I think she would have, 100%. I think they would have taken Brian into custody, or at least given him a sobriety test. Right, that the whole.
Well, because he was a white male at that, not just white in general, just a white male. Right. It was like,
Yeah, they took his word on. We don't do. Now again, he did everything right.
The officer also, nobody was pressing charges.
Right, exactly.
Therefore,
and again, defending the officer.
You can't arrest anybody.
So it's not. We're not coming down on the officer.
Yeah,
or
like you
anything
can't
like
arrest anybody if nobody's pressing charges. But then again, there's been situations where there hasn't been any charges pressed, and guess what? You still get a knee to the face, to say the least.
Oh yeah, of course. But again,
extra, let's just call it extra interrogations.
Right.
Interrogation.
And look, I've been pulled over by the police many times. I've been taught how to handle the situation when you do get pulled over, when you are accused of being on any kind of alcohol or drugs or any kind. Like again, whilst driving, obviously, because that's an easy DUI. But it's and again. It is what it is. Being respectable, following the directions that they give you. And again, there's times where I've gotten the speeding ticket or I've gotten the moving violation, if you will. But there were times where I was not given a sobriety test, but they easily could have. And if they would have, maybe I would have blown up 0.1. If anything, you have a beer during dinner or whatever it might be.
But in this specific case,
Brian was doing the right thing.
Yes, but again, the officer was doing the right thing, what he thought was the right thing. So you can only go based off of that.
Right. So here's where it gets a little fishy. So that was August 12th. August 25th,
so August 12th, the complaint.
August 25th, Gabi posts her last post. And also the last text messages goes to her family.
So 25th, that's what?
This
13
is
days later.
13 days later. And she did pick him up at the hotel, so it looked like they reconciled.
Okay.
Suspiciously, too, there was before the 25th, there was at a bar that in the same area where Gabi and Brian were staying, a lesbian couple was found murdered at their campsite. Now, there's no source for any connection to Gabi's case and this case, but it is an ongoing investigation. And there's still no details have come out to that, so... hopefully we get a little bit.
But
more.
that's a whole separate murder.
Right, but that's a whole separate murder that happened in the same campsite that Gabi and Brian were staying in, and that couple was seen at the same bar that Gabi and Brian were also at. So is there a connection? Is there not a connection? Who knows?
Might be.
August 25th, Gabi posts her last Instagram post and also sends her last text message to her family. A text message which read, "No service in Yosemite," which to Gabi's family seemed very odd, very off.
Odd. Why would she
Because
post
Gabi's
that?
very detailed in her. Well, she texted her family this. She's very detailed in her text messages. She'll find.
So
service.
it wasn't a post. It was a
Right.
text
It was
message.
just it was a text message and then her Instagram post, and then her last Instagram post again also very short. Flash forward to now September 1st. Brian arrives in his parents' house in Florida where him and Gabi live alone.
Didn't they live in Long Island?
Well, her family lived in Long Island. They left Long Island to fix the car. That's where they got the car. But they drove the car back to Florida. That was the plan the whole time. The two of them were going to come together where they live in Florida. Brian arrives without Gabi. Family's getting concerned now. They ask questions. Brian is not answering any questions. He's not talking to police. He's not saying anything, being very mischievous about it in a sense.
With her car.
With her car, yeah. So he arrives in their home in Florida without her in her car. Gabi's nowhere to be found. After, I don't know, and this is where I lose it, and this is where, like, to me, something is off. From September 1st, when he arrived without her, till September 11th.
Hold on. You said September 1st?
From the 1st to the 11th. So 10 days go by. And finally, a missing persons comes out for Gabi.
Who filed it?
Her family in New York.
So
Because Brian is not reaching out to them. He's not letting them know what's going on. His family is reassuring her family that they don't know anything and they don't know what's going on. So then 3 days later, it takes 3 days for the police and the FBI to show up to Brian's house. Brian goes on a hike, tells his family, "I'll be back," and he's nowhere to be found right now. Yeah. Nowhere to be found.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep. He just put a backpack on and went on another hike. And his family knows nothing.
This was how long ago?
This was less than 5 days ago, so we're looking at September 15th. September 14th, he was named a person of interest. He lured up. 2 days after that would be September 17th. Today is September 22nd, and Brian is gone. Yeah.
So for anybody listening to this or viewing this in real time, like, this is a case that's happening now.
This is an ongoing case.
This
and
is
again,
an ongoing case that's happening in real time.
This could come out now, and now I'm going to open it up, and I'll let you guys know the final say on this. I think it was a couple days ago, so I want to say it was the 21st. It took the internet to figure this out, and again, that's where, like, and I'm going to bring this up again, but the timeline between September 1st and September 11th, that's where I'm real hazy on, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. But it took the internet to figure this out. So some blogger who was also in the same area at the same time that Gabi and Brian were out there was editing video, just like you will do. Was editing video and realized, hey, I recognize that van. Why do I recognize that van? Well, it's been on national television forever. So he starts zooming in, and I think he's got a drone that was overseeing, and he's going through, and he notices Gabi's sandals. Gabi's sandals, same sandals she was wearing during the thing. This is the internet. This is TikTok. This is YouTube. This is Instagram solving this case. And again, and I'm not trying to get on the police or the FBI, but what are you guys doing? We have the internet solving this case. 3 days ago, or two or 3 days ago, a body was found right where the
oh my God, was it Gabi?
And again, it's not confirmed officially yet. I think they still have to fly her family out, and they have to confirm if it's her or not. But odds are it's probably her. So we'll at least get a body, and the family does get to bury their daughter and get some peace. But they still have no justice because Brian is nowhere to be found. So this case is crazy. It's insane, and it's again, shout out my wife who's been basically running this podcast today.
Shout out to Becky.
She's been all over this case, and when she told me about the double homicide of the lesbian couple and the weird story about that, and when she told me about the body cam video that didn't come out until the body cam video came out September 16th. So that's how long this incident happened. We said August 17th.
And the authorities are just putting this out just
again. It's like
try to
pick
get some
up your
help.
feet. Like what's going on? Like like where was the dragging of the feet? Where was the disconnect of why didn't they check up on her after? Why was there? Why was his family not communicating? Well, why did he not communicate with the police? Like how did he show up alone? Like and again, if something crazy happened, if by some like miraculous thing, because obviously all fingers point to Brian.
Of course,
but and I know he's not helping.
It's definitely not the lesbian couple. I'll tell you that much.
No, he's not helping his case because you're pleading the fifth. You're not talking to police. You show up in outer, and now you're gone. You disappeared. Look, if something crazy happened where she like fell off a cliff, they were hiking, like whatever it is, dude, let us know what's happening.
I don't think that's the case. I think Brian fucked up on this one.
Yeah, 100%. So the thing that I've been bouncing around off a lot of people, because now I've become obsessed with this, and I guess rightfully so.
Of course.
This is a very devastating story, but it's there was this show on Showtime starring Bryan Cranston, the guy from Malcolm in the Middle. It was called Your Honor, where he was a judge and his son.
Yeah. Okay,
so
I saw that.
It led me. So if you're not familiar with Your Honor, watch it. It's a very good show. But it I don't have any kids myself. I know you don't have any kids.
Yeah. Because
and
nobody loves me.
And Dot's got a buddy, but off camera, and Dot's got Buddy. So technically, that's his kid. Shouts to Buddy, his dog. But if your child,
And that's somewhere back there.
if your child, and again, what would you do, man, if your kid came home? And again, this is all alleged now. I'm not saying that Brian did this. Or let's say he comes
Talking
home.
about Brian's family?
Yeah, blood-soaked clothes, comes home. Dude.
You're gonna do what any parent would do, bro. Like,
Yeah, man.
I don't have kids, but that doesn't. I don't need to have kids to know that I'm gonna protect my kid.
Yeah. So you wouldn't. See, I don't know, man. I don't know what I would do. Part of me thinks like, yo, I'll send them to the yard para la finca.
Bro, you'll turn your kid in.
I don't think I would, but like again, like if the family is desperate to know where, like I have to take into consideration where. And again, this is a different circumstance now. Like if they were able to find the body, recover the body, and everything was okay, and they knew what happened. Like okay, that's different. But I mean, till this day, here we are. They
till this day,
they still don't even know if that's her kid.
It's only been a few days.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing case that's happening in real time. I feel like we just gotta give it a little bit of time, and we're going to know if that's her body or not.
Yeah. I mean, pretty soon. Next couple
Pretty
days.
soon.
Hopefully.
I mean, the whole story seems sus, especially because you show up in Florida with her car. So right there is a little bit sus, and then the fact that you're not answering any questions, and now you go hiking and disappear for a few days.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he qualify as a prime suspect in a murder case?
He was finally named the person of interest, and that's when he lawyered up.
A person of interest, so he can't be like held within a prison or.
Again, here's our beautiful justice system. He lawyered up.
He's also in Florida.
He's in Florida, where laws are a little different down there. He lawyered up, and he has the right to an attorney, and he also has the right to plead the fifth and not self-incriminate himself. So he's not going to say anything. And again, like every detective, whatever, my interrogator, they all have their quips. There's been cases where guys have pled to murder when they haven't even done it, or pled to or confessed to robbery or arson or anything. There have been times where people have incriminated themselves by just the verbiage and the words used by the interrogator, because these guys are very good at what they do, and That's what they're there for. So he wasn't going to get interrogated by Florida PD. He was going to get interrogated possibly by one of the top guys at the FBI.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like a guy that's probably been recruited for 50 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that knows how to break you. So, you know, again, like, you can confess to a murder that you may or may not have done. Now, in this situation, I don't think that's the case. So, again, I just hope that he can shed some light into the case. Like, you know, we went through this with
so the boyfriend hasn't spoken at all.
and he's also gone.
Now, question, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Since we said we were talking about OJ earlier and stuff like that, and we all assumed that he just did it. Now the question is, given everything, we obviously are not detectives, and obviously he took certain precautions and did everything by the book that he can do. But let's get that out of the way. What do you think, given everything that we discussed today? Do you think, respectively, do you guys think that he did it? Yes or no?
100%. Yeah.
100%, bro. Everything leads to that.
And please elaborate.
Okay, so
Yeah, you know, you go. I've been talking.
the car. Why do you have her car? Second, why are you not talking? Third, why haven't you hit up anybody like her family? Like, it's been 10 days, September 1st to the 11th, right? 10 days, and you haven't, even if something were to have happened to her, why didn't you contact their family or let anybody know?
All right, listen, look, like I get, like, and I'm trying to get, like, it's clear, and like also another thing I didn't mention on the body cams, but Gabi referred that she suffers from anxiety and OCD, and she's trying to start this blog website, and he wasn't supportive of it, and you know, again, my wife, again, she suffers through some forms of anxiety. There's times where I can't calm her down, but it's never gotten physical, you know, and it's never gotten to the point where I won't support her. I just know better than to sit back. Now, I don't know if Brian has these same issues as well. Again, maybe I might have been passing judgment saying that he was tweaking, because from what I saw, he was tweaking. But, you know, maybe he has his own mental issues. So maybe he freaked out. Maybe something happened. You don't know what to do. You go to mom and dad. Okay, that's fine. And we just had the conversation. Mom and dad, like, what would you do in that situation? Well, I'm going to protect my kid at all costs. So maybe there's a little bit of all of this happening where he's just isn't fully aware of what he did. Again, I mean, that's a psychopath. Like,
Probably trying to take out like that memory off of
he could. And again, a lot of them do it. They feel no remorse. If you are that kind of person, like, let's just say, and again, I don't think it's connected, but it is very odd. But let's say he fucking, you know, he killed this couple, and then I don't know, Gabi saw it or saw him like cleaning up and questioned them.
That could also be a scenario
because maybe he, you know, told her, don't worry about it. A couple days go by, she kept asking, and something popped up. Maybe she saw the police. She said, dude, like, we got to do something. Like, you know, I know it was you, and, you know, maybe he put her down. Again, we don't really know. And again, until Brian, I don't know when this is going to come out, and I don't know if you're probably going to be already behind bars or whatever it might be, but dude, you got to come out and say something, and give closure to this case, because like again, like I said, I know
cooperate, say something.
I know at the top, I mentioned the only reason why people care is because of the color of their skin, and that's honestly, I think that's true, but also like that's not good on our part to say that that's the only reason why it's getting national attention. Maybe that the next time this happens to a Latino family, this happens to a black family, this happens to an Asian family, a Muslim family, whatever it might be, that it does get the same kind of national attention. But I mean, you got to give the family some kind of closure, man.
Bro, I think honestly, he did it.
Yeah, 100%.
Period. Because if the case was that he wanted to plead or mental issues or she slipped and fall or whatever the case, variety of scenarios out here, why wouldn't you help? Why wouldn't you contact family?
Fear?
But,
I mean, because let's be real.
No, yeah. It's the guilt.
He goes to jail. He's gonna get murked.
It's the guilt.
Like, regardless, right? I mean, you think he walks in 2 days into prison and he's alive?
Look, that guy sounds to me like a sociopath. I feel like he did it, and he knows exactly what to do after you do it.
Right.
Simple as that. And eventually he's probably, if they find a body and they link it to him, he's gonna go to jail. So there's only so long that for
Is
so
he
much that
gonna
he
go
can
to
run.
jail?
Find him. That's the thing. He's gone.
I mean, he's gone if they find
Is
him.
he gonna go to jail?
So I actually,
'Cause,
right
bro,
before we started this, I went to see if he was even found. He's been. They ended the search today.
Let's not forget that even if they were to find him, he's innocent until proven guilty.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then this will captivate the world for the next.
He
fucking
plead the
18 months.
fifth.
Yeah.
Again, we're speaking about OJ earlier.
Listen. Unless he when he lawyer up, did some OD good job at lawyering up, and got Cochran himself, which I doubt.
The ghost of Johnny Cochran.
Right, right. These are, and not to make it about race again, but I'm gonna have to. These are two white people. It's not like it was a person who color who may or may not have killed. A white person who may or may have not killed a person of color. No, these are two, a white victim and a white aggressor. Mm-hmm. And the white victim seems to have a family that stays on it and that will demand justice. So if there's any type of indication and proof, especially since they're getting that type of national coverage, I don't think so. I think if he gets caught and there's evidence that points that way, I think he'll go to jail. I
mean, I think I could rebuttal that though with Casey Anthony. You know, I mean that's the other side of it, right? So it's like you get this kind of national media, you get this attention. I mean, there's what is it, ID TV and fucking True TV and all these other broadcast networks are going to be coming out with like the next fucking documentary or the dramatization of this event, and it'll leave the door open. So it's like if she got off, I mean, let's be clear, it was very, very, very suspect the way that went down. And again, not to
this whole case sounds suspect.
It does, and I think we're going to be dealing with this for a very long time.
Well, actually, no. Let me rephrase that, because if you take the facts, what's happened, it's a straightforward case.
Yeah, and again, you would think that it's open and shut, but unfortunately, the way that the justice system works,
innocent until proven guilty, and we shall see.
Yeah.